Hague needs a 2-putt bogey to win here on number 72 at the Rusty Putter in St. John. Ooh. He zips that one past the hole, and with that tap in, another 3-putt puts Hague and Perry score through 72.
The fine print, though.
Hey.
Look at that. The fine
back.
print. This guy, we haven't seen him in a while. If you don't know him, his name's Adam Hague.
That's me. I'm back. I'm the village idiot.
Welcome back. We've covered lots of things while you were gone.
I've been paying attention.
We'll cover, maybe we'll do a little summary of that, right?
Yeah.
It's April 3rd.
Snowing.
It's my wife's 30th birthday today. So
nice.
Keep hitting the repeat button on 30.
They get to do that till they're 50, right?
Probably. I don't know. I wouldn't really trust me in making women happy and feeling so great, but
Nice.
we'll see what goes on for her birthday. Probably not a lot. Maybe a nice steak. I don't know.
Yeah, where do you get that in Northwest Indiana?
Pretty much nowhere.
Theo's?
Maybe go to like Rosebud up in Muncie.
Gino's? Rosebud does a nice steak up there.
Yeah.
They pack you in, though. Really
Yeah. The acoustics in there, not so great.
loud.
Very loud, but it is what it is. All right. So we're going to call this episode the Would You Rather episode.
Ooh.
Since before the show, we kind of talked about your little incident here with a host of a radio show with a 4-letter call or acronym.
We're going to have to clear the air on that, Yurko.
Yes. Yurko, you're not going to remain unnamed like Adam remained unnamed in your bit. So before the show, you said, would you rather be the person that hits into a group and causes carnage, as in 2 staples in the side of Adam's head, or would you be the recipient of the carnage and be the person on the green that gets hit by a 3-wood from 205 out?
I think, and mind you, I've only been on one side of that equation, but I will say that I would rather be the one getting hit times a million. What's your answer?
Same thing.
Would not want to hit. And before I go into correcting Yurko on his little rendition of what happened, he did feel terrible. Like it was a bad thing, and he felt bad. So
it's one thing to roll up on somebody,
yeah.
But to line drive off the dome from 205 out.
He called it a power fade. I don't know if I'd call it that.
We did play around with them once last year, I believe it was, and I don't know if I'd call it a power fade either. But that round also was me hitting about 12 duck hooks. So
yeah,
it happens. So you get hit in the head you're playing Pinehurst, right?
Playing Pinehurst, number 4. You could listen to the Carmen and Yurko show and hear his version of the story. But here's what my version was, and we won't say anyone is incorrect. But my partner hits the ball. He's on its par 4. It's downhill. He misses front right. So I'm a good driving host. I park next to his ball. I, of course, am on the green. I part it, right? We finish the hole, put the flag in, and I had to walk back to my ball, which is in the front right of the green.
I believe Yurko called it the 5 and 5, 5 short, 5 right.
Yeah, but those carts don't let you get close to the green. So I had to walk back a little bit, maybe 20 yards. I didn't even get to my cart. And all of a sudden, boom, like my ears are ringing. And then it takes a second. I put my hand on my head. There's blood everywhere. And then you kind of like start to piece together what actually happened. Like, oh, I'm on a golf course. Oh, I just got smoked in the head with a golf ball. Am I going to die? I don't know. So
all of the thoughts going through your head.
Took it like a man, though. Didn't fall down. Just kind of like afterwards, I was like, all right, this could be bad. So I kind of sat down. And my partner brought over a towel, and then all of a sudden Yurko comes up. He thinks we're joking. We're definitely not joking. So he offers me a Michelob Ultra to put on the wound.
Low-calorie wound care.
Yeah. And I will be honest with you. My first thought was, okay, I'm fine. Like I didn't lose consciousness. I don't know who hit me, but we're not going to play this up. I was like, nope, I'm good. Give me a towel. They called the ranger, brought ice. So the rest of the round, I'm like, fuck that. Screw this. I'm playing. I just kept like a towel with ice on my head. Mind you, the wound was pretty gnarly.
Well, to split skin by getting hit by a round ball is impressive.
Yeah. Well, it was 210 yards out with. I'm guessing it had a lot of spin on it, Yerk, with that pure ball striking. A lot of side spin.
He's coming out of the rough, though. Maybe we'll have to see. The interesting part. So Yurko talks about maybe walking back 30 yards from the
He said
hill.
sachet.
sachet.
A sachet.
I would love to see him sachet because I don't think he's the most fleet of foot, but so he's walking 30 yards back to line up his shot.
Yeah.
You're walking 20 yards to the cart. I think the only way that we're actually gonna be able to figure out the real timing on this at some point is you guys having a walking 40-yard competition.
like the marathons where they walk, they don't run.
Yeah, it was the power walk, right? Yurko will sachet and you'll just casually walk with your putter.
Yeah.
And we'll see who can casually walk or sachet 40 yards the fastest. In honor of the NFL Combine, in honor of Adam's head.
That's the only 40-yard dash I think I could beat anyone in. I'm slow. I think I had like a 5.4 40, which is amazing.
When I was younger and way more in shape and playing baseball, a scout went, what's your best attribute? And I said, I got a great first step. And he goes, son, Jesus Christ had a great first step too. What happens on the second step? Like, don't ask me. I don't know how to catch. Like, you want me to just swing as hard as I can and hit balls over the right field fence? I can do that. You want me to throw a fastball as hard as I can? I'll do that. But
I will say this: it was not Yurko's fault. So it was blind. He thought the green was clear. There's no animosity. I love you, Yurk. You're not going to get a call from my lawyer yet. And I might have to call in and just clear the air on a little bit of what was said yesterday on AM 1000. So then anyways, I finished around, right?
Yep.
Shot $1 million on that round.
Why?
Well, because I couldn't stop the bleeding.
Is that sweat coming out?
Oh, I don't know. There's just blood running down my head. And then the guys were like, hey, listen, if you feel dizzy, just go. And I'm like, all right, fine. And you're trying to drive me. I'll try to. I'm like, just let me go. I'm okay. Got CAT scan, got 2 staples.
How's the cat after the scan? Cat's good?
Cat's good. We're all clear. So then fired off a pretty good round the next day. And now we have a good story.
I think you're saying you shot a 77.
I did. Well, it was 78. I appreciate that extra stroke that he gave me, but I was proud of that one. And you know what? We took down the cup. Blue team.
All right. So kept it under 80 after a traumatic head injury.
Yeah, it was the Crips versus the Bloods, and the Crips won.
All right. Some territory wars there at Pinehurst. I'm not sure if they have such urban territory things there, but all right. So your head is relatively healed at this point.
We're good. Staples out. Dr. Mike came to the Rescue Putter. Took him out on Saturday. They're over there. So I'm waiting for the bloody towel framed. I need a signed Yurko with your score on the hole, and then we'll throw the staples in there and just put him up at the Rescue Putter.
It's fortunate for him because you said that ball was going out of bounds too.
It was out definitely.
So his score on the hole is 2 strokes better automatically because of your head.
Correct. And he was on the other team, so I don't know. Helped out the other team. Not proud of that.
Real question here. Fire off a 77 after getting smoked in the head the day before. Mm-hmm. Would you consider walking across a driving range before your next round to see if you can repeat it?
But I do have some PTSD. Like no doubt. We played last Sunday. Yurk was out there too. I made sure I wasn't in front of him in the group. But every time I thought someone was coming, I would just what's that?
What's that noise? All right. So we cover that. Would you rather?
Let's clear that air up.
The air has been cleared relatively. However, I think at some point we're going to have a 40-yard walk-off / sachet off.
Challenge accepted.
All right. We'll have to set it up. Yurko, I know you don't watch this, but we'll find you. We know, we might know where you live. We know where you play golf. What else would you rather? What else do you want to cover on the would you rather? I got an interesting one for you.
Let's hear it.
So there's this big fight that's been going on between Rocket Mortgage and United Wholesale Mortgage, UWM.
Okay.
So the owner of UWM owns the Phoenix Suns.
Interesting.
Who, when he bought the team, didn't realize that Rocket had a $400,000 or $500,000 advertising thing with them. Dan Gilbert owns the Cleveland Cavaliers, also owns Rocket. Oh, whatever, the founder of Rocket, right? Okay. So they're beefing. They've always called this the War of Detroit or the Battle of Woodward Avenue.
Okay.
Popular road there in Detroit.
Mom Spaghetti.
Yeah, okay. Exactly. So we just saw an article come out. I'll post a link for it. This group of independent journalists and researchers did a huge study about United Wholesale Mortgage, UWM. Their whole thing is brokers are better. Brokers are going to consistently shop for the best deal for you.
Okay.
What they found is 98% of brokers send their deals to UWM, United Wholesale. They're not actually shopping that.
Okay.
To be a broker in mortgage world, there's a couple different setups for a mortgage company. You have mortgage broker, mortgage banker, brick and mortar, actual, depository banker.
Okay.
And then, an IMB or independent mortgage banker. Insurance world, I think is pretty similar too, right? You guys have brokers, you got, brand name like you,
captives. Yep.
Any other types of setups there?
No, it's pretty much the same. There's some direct writers where there are no agents, right? So there's kind of three ways to get coverage.
So a lot of people have this, this thought, right? That the broker concept, these people are going to be shopping us for the best rate, the best fee, all of that stuff in the mortgage world. Happens in the insurance world too, I'm sure. Mm-hmm. What we found out here is with this UWM thing, $298 million in extra fees charged to to people. So the whole concept of shopping is eroded when 98% of the business is going to one place.
Right. Unless they're just that good. But I don't know if you could be 98% that good.
I don't think you can. And they actually went through and did a bunch of crazy data analysis, all publicly available. This takes a lot of computing. Went back and forth and reviewed all of this stuff. And what it comes down to is there is no right or wrong answer for the type of company you work with for insurance. There's no right or wrong answer for a company you use for a mortgage. It's the people and the service that you're going to get. Playing for the cutthroat price is a disillusion, I don't know. It creates this misalignment of priority. And I think when you were gone a couple weeks ago, we had Tyler Burleson on, and he used, coins the term the do it right price or the do it twice price.
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to pay for it. We keep saying it on this show, you get what you pay for. People aren't looking for cheap stuff. I think they're looking for the best value, which isn't necessarily cheap. Like, I don't buy cheap anything. I try not to because it just breaks.
Exactly. It breaks. And, or in the case of like insurance, right? Like you're paying cheap for something. So you're almost like you're betting, right? You're going to go cheap, not have the right coverages, and then just hope. Yeah. Hope's not a business plan. Hope's not a strategy.
You don't want to be in Hopa land. You just don't.
I can't say I've ever been there, but it's, and I think as we've gone through, so while you've been out here for a little bit, we've covered with, we had Nick Osting on, we've got Tony Minadero on, we had Tyler Burleson on, all three great real estate agents.
Yeah.
And now they have, all of this media, whatever you want to call it, blow up about the NAR commission settlement.
Sure.
We'll cover some of that real quick. The biggest thing is it's a proposed settlement. It's not official yet.
Sure.
But we continue to see all of these questions and confusion from buyers and sellers and everyone else in the world. And all I can do is tell you guys to get in touch with someone that's willing to talk about it and not just say, oh, it's a proposed settlement. We won't worry about that till July.
I mean, to me, and I've done a little bit of reading on it, but it's just all about transparency, which is, I think, great. So, but you still, these people are performing a service and there is value to them. So, maybe they get paid less or maybe they get paid more. It's just like, if you're going to deliver value as whatever business you're in, we just happen to be talking about a real estate agent right now, but if you're going to deliver value and you're worth it, what is the difference between 2.5% and 3.5%? I mean, it's just like,
well, I'm here on a $500,000 house. It's $5,000.
Sure.
Right.
Okay.
To have peace of mind and have someone exclusively representing you.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest things. Maybe we'll go, would you rather? We'll cover a couple of questions here on what people should probably ask an insurance company, ask of a mortgage company, ask of a real estate agent. One of the biggest things that is coming out of this, proposed settlement and some confusion, right, is, well, buyers are just going to go to the listing agent and use them so that they can save on commission. The listing agent has already signed a contract with the seller.
Right.
They're obligated to the seller at that point.
We have interest.
So that shortcut there creates a major concern. A lot of states, dual agency is illegal. Other states, you can go, I'm going to do whatever unrepresented buyer, do the ministerial acts and fill out a contract for you, but I'm actually not going to represent your interest. If you were going to buy $200,000, $300,000, $400,000, $500,000, $600,000, $700,000 house Adam, or just any property in general, would you want someone to actually legitimately represent your interest?
100%. I wouldn't want to share it on the other side of the deal. How does one, like, in their mind play fair when there's competing interests no matter what?
Well, yeah, and it's in this case, that person has already signed a contract to represent that person's interest. So all of a sudden now you're gonna wait. What happens there? That person doesn't know. Like, they can't help you navigate the contract. They can't just give you information legally about it because they're bound to confidentiality to the seller.
Yeah, easily. No, I'm not doing a double wide. Whatever they call those? What do they call them?
Dual agency,
Dual
double bubble.
Double. Yeah, no, save that for somebody else. Next question.
On the top, and I may not say would you rather, but if new quarter here, April, right? It's snowing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about a couple questions that you, from the insurance side of things, wish that customers should ask, or questions that you frequently answer that you say, that's a great question. That's the right thing to ask.
Man, I mean, so for me, I think I wish people understood or wanted to understand the liability side of all their insurance.
Well, especially the United States, the most litigious country.
Right. So, on your auto insurance, what do those three numbers mean? What does 25, 50, 25 mean? And no one really knows, but if you really understood it, and here's the way I explain it, because it is your lawsuit protection, right? So as you're driving around, you hurt somebody and they get a lawyer, like, they will find your assets. And if you did something bad, it doesn't have to be your fault. Let's just say today it's snowing. You slide on ice and you hit somebody in the back and you really hurt them. Was it your fault? Yeah. Could you control it? Not really, not if you hit black ice. So that's protecting all the assets you've saved in your savings account and whatever. That's cool. When you explain it that way, most people don't put themselves in a situation where they messed up. Fair?
Yeah.
But here's what it also is. It's covering you for whatever someone does to you and they don't have insurance or they don't have enough insurance. And believe me, there's a lot of people out there
that don't have insurance.
That have nothing.
Right.
So,
I think you guys can sometimes see, right, if they've been canceled for non-payment of other providers, all of that
they
stuff.
Hop around, they can't afford it. So they hit you and all of a sudden you went to Geico or Progressive and picked your price, and now I can only give you $25,000, and you can't work for 3 months because you broke something. Like, that's crazy. So if people, I wish, to answer your question, I wish they cared enough to ask, what do these numbers mean? And I wish they cared enough to listen when we explain it, because if everyone understood that, you'd have $1 million on personal injury for yourself, $1 million. If someone hurts me or my kid, I don't want to worry about, did they do what they were supposed to do and pay their insurance bill or get the right coverage, because I know they didn't. So that's my answer.
I think the $1 million in coverage it seems like it's kind of a gaudy number, but I mean, I ended up in the ER about 2 weeks ago at Munster Community for some stuff, and I got the bill, and I was there for, I don't know, 15, 16 hours.
Yeah.
Whatever. It was, $48 for the 2 Tylenol I got.
Yeah.
So you talk about introducing, if you, in case of an auto accident or any other slip and fall, broken bones, you get
hit in the head with a golf ball and Pinehurst.
Yeah, exactly. Complete, a victim of an errant golf ball, and cases like that too, right? Like, what if it's just like a fluke?
Yeah,
just something crazy, and that person that did it never even knew or thought to have some type of umbrella coverage because this crazy thing happened.
Yeah, that's it. No one. Yeah, I wish people cared enough to ask, because the third part of that number, that's your property damage limit. Geico, they'll sell you a $25,000 limit. So here's what that means, Tony. Same scenario. You slide on ice and you total a brand new Toyota Camry, fully loaded. What do those things sell for?
I would guess probably 50,000.
Yeah, they got to be approaching high 40s, right?
So, certainly more than 25,000.
So Tony does that. He slides. Oops, sorry, totaled your car. Progressive's going to stop paying at 25,000. Where's the rest come from?
You got to run it down from the person that hit you.
No, it's you. So you did it to somebody else.
Oh, yeah, all right.
It's coming from your checking account because you only had 25,000 in coverage. Now you got to write a check for 15,000. Guess what? To bump that to 100,000 or 150,000, guess how much that would cost?
$5 a month.
Not even. call it $3 a month. And if you really understood that, would you ever buy that other stuff? No, you wouldn't.
That's $36 a year.
But they've commoditized everything, right? It's save what? Save on your premium and slide on ice and hit somebody and cost yourself 15 grand. So get with someone who understands it, ask the questions, and actually listen to understand what this stuff means, because the choices you're making with your calls and your decisions with who you trust in the mortgage industry and in the insurance, the decisions you're making have serious consequences at some point, because you will have a claim.
And I think, like, we have some mutual customer base, and I know that Brian Reynolds and Brian Cody at your office, both of those guys, they go the extra mile to explain things.
Yeah.
And to answer questions. And if you're not asking a question, I know for a fact that they will drive you to asking that question.
Here's what you
I could actually pull up a text message from a customer I have right now who spoke very highly of someone at your agency, because he explained it so much better than my agent.
Yeah.
My current agent.
And that's what it's all about.
Understanding it, right? Knowing what you're paying for.
Right.
And understanding that the cheapest option has the most exposure.
Yeah.
More than likely.
Be wary of cheap stuff.
So that applies now. Right? Let's just take that parallel, right? Let's plan it into the mortgage world. The cheapest rate a lot of times comes with the highest cost, right?
Mm-hmm.
Discount points, all of that stuff, level of service, local knowledge. Of this race to the bottom there, what's going on in the real estate world right now happened in the mortgage world twice already. It happened in 2010. It happened in 2015.
Yeah.
So we've navigated through that. And this perception of, oh, this type of business model is better than this business model. At the end of the day, it doesn't really matter what business model it is. 95% of our business is standardized, right?
Yeah.
But if that person can provide additional explanation to you, things that people don't ask for, why is my interest rate this? Why are my loan fees this? Why does this company advertise this rate and you're giving me this rate? Well, I've explained this to a customer the other day. I'm offering you this rate because you don't have an extra $15,000 to buy down the rate that company's charging you.
Yeah.
They're creating this barrier to entry or affordability concern that isn't real. It's because you're talking to a call center person who doesn't know how to explain what this fee is and what this fee is and how this works. And it turns into what should be a 28-day transaction turns into a 65-day transaction. But you're just talking to people
or a lost deal. Right.
Well, that could cost you money. We've seen it before, and this idea of this strong seller's market. Like, a seller is not going to be inclined to hang out for an extra 30 days on a contract. They put their house for sale to sell it most of the time.
Right.
So things to ask a mortgage person, right? Why is my rate that? How do we, what determines interest rates? 10-year treasury yield does not actually determine interest rates. Mm-hmm. Mortgage-backed securities market kind of determines a range of rates, right? But at the end of the day, rates are driven by your transaction type, purchase, refi, cash out refi,
credit.
Yeah, FICO score, sure. Loan to value, loan program. And working with someone that can explain all of the different impacts and give you a couple different options. Hey, do you want this much cash out of pocket? Okay, your payment looks like this. You want this much cash out of pocket? Okay, your payment looks like this.
Yeah.
And making it as custom tailored to you. If a company, I'm trying to think who, like Thomas James, I think they do some like running around and measure you. If they're going to measure you for $1,000, even a $500 suit, and they're going to cut that thing to within a 16th of an inch on your for a $500 suit, wouldn't you want to work with a mortgage person that can cut that number down to you to within a couple $100 at closing?
Yeah, and you said something else, like explain it. So like the situations depend on, what's your use of this property going to be? Like, is this your forever home? Because if it is, and maybe buying that rate down does make sense because you're planning on staying there for 30 years. Obviously things can change.
That's a great topic right there in itself. So Inman, real estate publication, I'm not really a big fan of their stuff. They've been regurgitating this article that Fannie Mae put out that said Fannie Mae does not anticipate conventional 30-year mortgage rates dipping below 6 this year now. Okay. So we've heard date the rate, marry the house. We've heard, it's going to be easier to refinance. If this is your forever home, you should look at just paying the points now securing a great rate and not having the stress of, am I going to refi later on?
But if you're not with the right person and they don't ask the question of you, like, well, in order to figure out what loan product to give you, like, I have to know a lot of things. How long are you going to be there? Blah, blah, blah. So how much cash do you have? Do you need that cash? Where's that cash living now? Maybe it could live here and buy you down a few points, and then all the hidden costs, right? So
the hidden costs are on refis. That's one of the biggest crocs of shit in the world. And I tell customers that I'm not going to sell you a refi that I wouldn't sell you, my family, anything else, because that's where people get hurt, right? Because, it's a no cost or it's no money out of pocket. Money doesn't, you just don't go, money.
Nothing's free.
It gets tacked on your loan balance. And then you go to sell your house later on and you're upset with someone.
Yeah. Or you're working off the date the rate thing. And then you don't realize that there are costs associated with even trying to get access to that new rate that need to be in your calculation, right? So that could be as much as $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 that, okay, I'm gonna rate this down and we're gonna refi if it ever gets back to 4.5. Well, one thing, if it does, cool. But two, like, what else does that cost you? Time. What if your credit changes? What if you can't do that? What if you lose your job? Like, so
there's a million factors. So just banking on that opportunity for a refi, it doesn't exist. You and I had a mutual customer a couple of weeks ago, and we were talking about, if rates come down, how about you don't worry about refinancing at any point. We just buy this rate down today.
Just do it.
And bite the bullet today and just know that you bought yourself an insurance policy essentially to not have to refi. Because even on his loan amount, a 1% drop in the interest rate, right? So if he goes from whatever it was, a 7 to a 6, a 6.5 to a 5.5, is $200 a month.
Yeah. And
for some people that's a budget changer. For this person, it just it doesn't move the needle.
It's not worth the headache.
And that's like, it's whatever, the first quarter prop line on an NCAA game. Like,
right. Which is, why people, anyone who makes blanket statements and gives advice on a blanket level, and there's a lot of them out there. I could name them like Susie Orman, like Dave Ramsey, not saying that what they say is incorrect, but when you say that this is true for everyone, you are completely wrong.
Dave, we could dive into Dave Ramsey right quick for a second with that. Don't have a mortgage or only get a 15-year mortgage. Well, we've talked about time value of money value of time, rearranging all those three things a few different ways.
Sure.
For the longest time, when the real estate or interest rate market was normal, trading, acting like it does against normal benchmarks, 15-year rate was probably 1.25% to 1.75% lower than a 30-year rate option. Mm-hmm. If you told me today, hey, Tony, I want to look at a 30 and a 15 side by side, same FICO, same down payment, all that, I'm going to tell you, well, Adam, 15-year rates maybe a quarter, maybe a half at best lower than the 30-year. It doesn't make sense. You're not yielding that benefit for having an accelerated payment.
Sure.
So here's the 30-year at this rate. You got a little bit of breathing room, but here, I'm going to actually put together a plan for you, Adam, to show you how you can pay that house off in 15 years.
Right.
And we do that all the time. Even people that are saddled with debt. I had a guy, I gave him a 7.99% interest rate in October, but I still saved him $3,000 a month on his budget.
And you made it unique to him, which is, back to my point, like blanket advice on anything is just not cool. Like the interest rate thing. Well, you should pay off your house. Like, what if for some people paying off your house is a bad idea?
I've seen it a million times where people, hey, I want to pay off my car, right? And I have people, hey, I paid off my car, but I have $42,000 in credit card debt now that I'm delinquent on.
Right.
So I think we've talked. We had Bill Bloom on a couple of weeks ago, and he's still working on his app, Diane Money. But one of the things there was applying your dollars to the highest interest rate debt. You're have a hard time finding a loan for under 8% for 30 years besides on your primary residence.
Mm-hmm. Secured debt.
Where does this all fit down in the real estate market? Well, Illinois and Indiana have never really required exclusive use of a buyer agency agreement. So you ring me up and say, hey, Tony, show me a house. I'm real estate agent, Tony. I'll never be one, but okay, Adam, I'd love to show you that. We have to, before we can do that, you and I have to enter into a contract essentially for me to show you that specific house and then cover the cost of me to represent you throughout that transaction.
So that hasn't existed, right?
It's existed in 18 states. It's been mandatory.
And it should be now because, like, then you could just call the next person and have like 3 people working for you. And now it's like, no, like, we've got a contract. Here's what you're going to make. You're not going to screw me and go with someone else because we have a contract. I think it's great. I think it's great for both people involved.
And it's being cast as this negative a lot. And it's like, no, let's just have it upfront, have the upfront conversation.
Yep.
Have that tough conversation. And so I think when you're interviewing an agent that you want to use to sell a house, when we had Tyler on, we talked about this, and he mentioned the best statistic to measure of an agent that's going to be listing your home for sale is the original list price to the sale price ratio.
Yeah. And then there's like time on the market.
Yeah, that time on the market is probably the second one, but
Yeah.
it's like, here's your sabermetric, if you will. Here's your stroke saved by putting, all the important stuff that in professional sports you care about. Well, this one is batting average or whatever you want to call it, on base percentage, some crazy thing.
So we're gonna moneyball real estate, and we're gonna have rankings and publish it.
Yeah, that would be fun,
Right? Let's make there's the idea. No one steal it.
All right, yeah. One of our 8 followers will don't hack this one. But it's the 8 for a seller though, right? Now they've been brought. Hey, you don't have to pay a buyer's agent commission. One, it's always been like that. Everything is negotiable.
Right.
But 2, I promise you, your potential buyers don't have money. So if you can offset their closing cost by covering some of their buyer agent, that agreement that you just signed for me to open that door, that is critical.
Yeah, out of the sale price too, right?
Yeah, like it's not really costing anything different. It's being accounted for different. It's being shown transparently,
right?
And that scares people. And so if I'm interviewing, right, for the listing, what's your original list price to sale price and your days on market? Those are key metrics, right? If I'm listing a house, those are the 2 or 3 questions I'm asking when they're sitting across the kitchen table from me. The last question I'm probably asking them right up front is, are you using professional photography? Because here's why. If I now have to get a signed contract from you to open that door to see that house, well, someone's got to trigger you to want to see it.
Right.
iPhone pictures with cut off things and blurry, you're not going to get any traction because now a person's not going to be inclined to click on that and then go say, well, hey, by the way, I'm also going to, you got to sign this agreement to pay me a fee to show you the house. And if they're not willing to pay the couple $100s for professional photography, what else is being hidden there?
Yeah.
But hey, I'm going to call the listing agent. Well, guess what? They got the contract to protect that person.
Mm-hmm.
So that's listing side of the thing. And I think what we'll do, I think we got a couple of these agents coming back on here in the next couple of weeks. We'll grill them with some of these questions. And from the buyer's agent perspective, right? Hey, Adam, I need you to sign this so I can open that door. Questions I think you should ask, and you could interject and say differently. What's your process as a buyer's agent? Do you have a process?
Right.
And I think what really think about that this morning was one of an attorney friend of mine, Alex Ranja, texted me this morning and said, hey, I finally bought it, and sent me a picture of Remarkable. This is pretty funny because I showed you Remarkable, and now your whole team has Remarkable.
We all have them.
I had a friend, you've actually met my friend Jen from Southern Ohio. She's the one that turned me on to Remarkable. What is your process, right? If I'm sitting down with you and you're applying for a mortgage, I say, Adam, here's my process. We're going to get all this information. We're going to put it all together. Then we're going to schedule a 30-minute comprehensive call to talk about your strategy.
Yeah.
Right. From a real estate agent perspective, hey, we're going to spend, 30, 45 minutes covering what you want, what you don't want, where you want to be. This is what you're going to get from me for that fee. Right. And then you're going to get strong representation. The seller is essentially our enemy. We want to get that property for the right price, with the right closing cost credit, with the right commission split to match that custom tailored suit.
Bingo.
How do we get that? How much success have you had doing that? How many homes have you represented buyers on? How many homes have you represented sellers on? How many transactions have you just been in the periphery on?
Right.
Right. Like you've
show me your stats.
Yeah. And it doesn't have to be, I've sold 100 houses before. I don't think that's not necessarily reasonable, but hey, I worked on a team where I was a transaction coordinator. I was this or that for this big, for 500 at bats.
Yeah.
right? And I think that's one of the key things moving forward in this industry is making sure that you have someone that, from a real estate agent perspective, has a system, also has boundaries. Because if they don't set boundaries with you, if I tell you, Adam, listen, I'm here's this contract, I'm good 9 to 7 during the week and buy appointments on the weekend. Don't text me, email me, that type of stuff. If they have boundaries, that means that they have a process, they have a system, and they value their time.
Yes.
If they're just willy-nilly going to say, hey, I'll just sign this for whatever dollar amount, and we'll go open doors for you. Imagine their ability to negotiate with the seller.
Yeah.
If they can't negotiate with you, how are they going to negotiate with a seller?
Good point.
Tough question.
All good points.
We're probably not making a lot of friends today. Good thing we got each other.
That's okay.
Turn on the radio.
I got enough friends.
Hey, you got a friend in me. What else we got? Tomorrow we have Happy Gilmore.
Yes.
Please RSVP. Please come. It's going to be fun. I don't know. Maybe we'll figure out a way to raffle something cool off, like
I don't know.
maybe a round at Lincoln Oaks or Lincoln
Chubbs
Shire.
Peterson lesson.
There we go. Or we could go to maybe this will be a Sandy Pines event.
Ooh.
You hang out with me and Adam. We'll get you a fine bottle of tequila.
Ooh.
And if you don't live close to DeMott, maybe we'll get a party busted.
I do love that course. That's a great course.
DeMott, very, very, I don't know. It's becoming like you have this group of people who were living in Lowell.
Yep.
Right. There was a transition south down 41. It started goes to Dyer, St. John, Cedar Lake,
now it's
Lowell,
yep.
And now it's shooting out to the east towards DeMott.
Yep.
DeMott, pretty accessible to the region.
Really, 65 is you can kind of get there.
65, 231. But that course there is like
outstanding course. If you haven't played it, check it out. And it's public. I believe.
Public, it is, and they have their clubhouse, their little restaurant there, solid.
Yeah.
So we'll figure out something cool for the Happy Gilmore event again. It's on Adam's social media page. It's on mine. Scan the QR code, RSVP. We still have plenty of room for you. And plus, we talk about doing this Happy Gilmore thing. Now all of a sudden a script is surfacing for Happy Gilmore too.
Yeah.
It'll probably suck.
Was that real? I saw that Instagram post.
I did read an article about it. I don't know. Like, how are you going to remake that though?
I thought it was a joke. I didn't know. It had like Tiger Woods and like Paige in it, and obviously Zalatoris.
I did see a really funny story about Happy Gilmore, though. I guess Bob Barker actually did not use a stunt double in the fight scene.
That was him?
It was actually him.
That's pretty cool.
The price is wrong. All right, we got that.
I hope they don't remake that. It would be okay if it was like a sequel. Don't remake it. If you want to carry the storyline on, maybe Chubbs is playing golf in heaven and blah, blah, blah.
The Field of Dreams for golf now?
Yeah, Field of Dreams, but just leave it alone, man. All those Adam Sandler movies.
People don't like that era of Adam Sandler movies, like that. Some of the greatest movies of all time.
Right, terrible at the same time, but so good.
Slapstick humor, right? Like, and now it's like, let's make it serious and this.
Yeah, no.
Just come have some fun with us. It's snowing today.
Yeah,
that sucks. Golf season will be pushed back a little bit here. Probably a couple, freeze delays and
thaw. We got to let that frost thaw.
What else we going to cover? Anything else we got?
Oh man, I think that's good. What do we got next week?
Next week, good question. I think we got April 10th. So strangely enough, my kid's 4th birthday there.
My anniversary
410.
Yeah, 10-4. It's how I remember it. 10-4.
10-4 rubber ducky there.
There you go.
I should have looked at the schedule. I think we might have either Minadero or Osting on, one of those guys.
Nice.
We have a couple other really cool guests coming on at some point. I think in June we have a customer who's a public school teacher.
Okay.
Worked with her for 9 years now. And she's worked out to a spot, public school teacher, right? Has a $1.5 million real estate portfolio.
That's awesome. I love that. Let's get her on here. Let's talk to her.
We got that. I have another one. I was thinking about this morning, like, what else can we talk about? Let's talk about the value of real estate and how you can actually use it to supplement retirement. If you're a teacher, your
cash flow, baby. Cash flow.
That's where it's at, right? Cash flow and tax benefit. So we'll cover that in a couple of weeks. We got Masters in 2 weeks.
Oh, baby.
We have NCAA women's tournament with 12.5 million views, Iowa LSU the other day.
Yeah.
We got men's tournament. We got left NC State, UConn.
Yep. Who's the other? NC State, UConn. Who beat UConn beat Illinois? Who's the other two? Why am I blanking?
Yeah, that was a sports and real estate.
That'll be a good one.
That'll be a good one. So we got the final 4 games Saturday, and then the national championship Monday. Here, we'll probably figure this one out real quick. Purdue.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Purdue.
Zach Edey.
That was
we're Purdue territory over here, Boilermaker. All right, that's it. That's all we got. We'll see you guys tomorrow, hopefully at the Adam Sandler event. Adam's nearly all healed up, so
yeah,
make sure he's dodging some golf balls. See you guys.
See you guys next week or tomorrow.